of the day from training camp. And there's one simple thing they absolutely have to do. We'll tell you what that is. Plus, hello Cleveland. Is Mr. Mayfield the man to finally lead you to the mountaintop? We've got answers to those and other questions as we get up with you, starting right now on a Wednesday from the Seaport. I'm Greeny, delighted that you're here, delighted they're here as well. Lots of football to get to this morning, and let's take a look at the squad we've put together to talk about it. Kimberly Martin's ready to break stories. Nico's in the happiest place on earth. Mike Tannenbaum is walking laps this morning on our conference call. They're all ready to roll, but we begin with the game of the night last night. Bucks, Hawks, Game 4 in Atlanta. No Trae Young for the Hawks. Out with a bone bruise in his right foot as they try to even up this series with Milwaukee. And in the first quarter, Giannis just not feeling it. The three, that's nothing but air. First time this postseason that Giannis did not score in the first quarter. Milwaukee was down by 3 after 1. Second quarter, things got worse. Bucks down by 9. Now they turn it over. Here comes Cam Reddish for the easy finish. He had 12. Hawks by 11. Later, Bucks down by 9. Chris Middleton, no. Now we're going the other way. Rebound, fought for. It's going to be Lou Will who's going to come away with it. And Lou Will does what Lou Will does, which is he shoots over Giannis. Yes, it's good. He had 21. Hawks by 13 at the half. Third quarter, Milwaukee came out fired up, particularly the Greek Freak. Driving the lane, throwing it down. Oh, it looked like he was feeling it, and they were coming. They were down by 8, and then the moment that changes everything. Watch Giannis. Watch the knee buckle as he goes up to try to contest. He is down. It looks like the knee hyperextends. We'll show it to you one more time quickly. It's a terrible-looking injury. It is one that probably shifts everything in this series and the rest of the playoffs. Malika reports he will undergo further testing on that knee today. Meanwhile, when he went down, the Hawks went nuts. But Bogdanovich with a 3, he scored 20, and then it's Clint Capella. Watch this shot. How does that go in? Clint Capella, 15 points on 6 of 7. Dikembe can't believe it. The Hawks pull away. They win it 110-88, playing without that man. But the story, of course, is Giannis.
He's in the locker room with the guys and just addressed the group and, but nothing, above and beyond or, we'll see how he is tomorrow. Our group, the character of it will come through and we're going home. It's 2-2.
We'll see what happens with Giannis. It'll be great if he plays, but if he's not, we still have a capable team of going out there and winning.
Well, that's the right thing for him to say, but obviously losing Giannis would be a devastating blow to the Bucks in their quest for their first championship in 50 years. According to our Basketball Power Index, Milwaukee has a 48% chance to win the championship with him and only 23% without him. And so let me bring in my Uncle Seth, no relation, Seth Greenberg. Seth, assuming if Giannis misses any games in this postseason now, he would become the 10th All-Star to miss games with injury in the playoffs. And that doesn't include Trae Young because he wasn't an All-Star. What is the right thing to say about all of these injuries in these playoffs?
Basketball is a contact sport. Basketball is difficult on the body. The narrative that these injuries are due to overuse is just not, I don't see the justification. The NBA actually did a study and said it's not true. But you think about some of these injuries, and I'm going to include Trae's injury in it as well. I mean, these are basketball injuries. This is a basketball injury. You know what? When you go up in the air as high as he does and you're in traffic, there's a chance you can hyperextend your knee. If you're Kyrie Irving and you get in the lane and you land on someone's foot, there's a chance that you're going to hurt your ankle. If you're Kawhi Leonard, you've had injuries throughout the season and you've had rest, by the way. They've done what they needed to do in terms of limiting his minutes. So these are basketball injuries. It's great to have a narrative that it's overuse, but the reality is this is basketball. When you're in a crowd around the basket, when you're competing at this higher level, there are going to be injuries. Obviously terrible. You feel for Giannis, you feel for the Bucks, you feel for the Nets, but these things happen in the game of basketball. And when you have the very best players on the floor, they're going to happen. And you know what? Chris Paul's been hurt in playoffs before this. We've seen Kawhi Leonard been hurt throughout the season. It just happens.
Right. Again, Chris Paul's, the games that he missed were with COVID. So there's a million extenuating circumstances in all this. Having said all of that, Seth, and I agree with you, can the Bucks win this series without Giannis?
No chance. And you talk about Batman and Robin. Come on, give me a break now. I mean, Giannis gets some rebounds, gets some easy baskets. He defends. He plays ahead of the defense. You saw what happened. I mean, look, the Hawks got up and underneath Middleton, took away his drive, took away his jump shot, made him a driver. All right, they took him out of transition. Their inability they don't have enough guys that can just make a play. The Bucks are a team of role players surrounded by Giannis, and that's just the way it is. So this is a very good basketball team, but you know what? They don't have playmakers, and they don't even have shot makers if you take Middleton out of the equation. I mean, they're relying on Braden Forbes to come off the bench and knock down some jumpers. This series is over, even if Trey doesn't play. All right, you take Giannis off of this basketball team, the Bucks don't have a chance to win this series.
Game 5 is tomorrow night in Milwaukee. Again, we don't know either of these things, but it certainly feels as though there's a possibility it'll be played without Trae Young, who makes the Hawks go, and without Giannis, who makes the Bucks go. We will see. Meanwhile, we'll have much more with you, Seth, as
we get Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals tonight between the Suns and the Clips. LA down 2-3. We'll look to even the series, but Game 5 was all Clips. The team shot 54.8% from the field, led by PG-13, who had a playoff career high, 41 points on 15 for 20 shooting. The Suns held their only lead of the game for only 20 seconds in that one. Young Masuk and Dave McMenamin have more on Game 6.
Paul George delivered 41 points in Game 5, but he credits the Clippers' resilient mentality with keeping them alive. George said the Clippers entered Game 5 with the mindset that the Suns were going to have to take the game from them. The Clippers are at their best when facing elimination, going 3-0 this postseason. DeMarcus Cousins said they are built for this moment, and we're not afraid of it. While the Clippers will be without Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac is listed as questionable for Game 6 after missing the last game. Now for a report on the Suns, here's Dave McMenamin.
Thanks, Ohm. In Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, the Phoenix Suns learned what the Mavericks found out in the first round and the Jazz found out in the second round, that having a 2-game lead over the LA Clippers does not guarantee success in a playoff series. Suns coach Monty Williams says his team needs to bring, quote, desperation to Game 6. Just because you're up in a series doesn't mean they're going to give it to you. We have to understand that, and I think we do now, he said. Monty's keys to Wednesday's Game 6: play with force, play with a competitive edge, and guard the ball in their second chance to close things out.
All right, let's welcome back our coach, Seth Greenberg. As O mentioned in the piece, Ivica Zubac is questionable after missing his first game this postseason. If he cannot go again, how important will DeMarcus Cousins' role be in the game tonight?
DeMarcus Cousins was absolutely terrific. You talk about 15 points. More importantly, when they doubled him, he dropped 3 assists. He's a big physical body. When they went big, when the Suns went big and against Saric, all of a sudden he was dominant. DeMarcus Cousins, remember that, this guy is an all-star back in the day. His ability to score around the basket, use that big body, create angles, and then if you run a double at him, he's always been an absolute terrific passer. He's a guy that carves out space, can catch and finish around the basket. Although he's not finishing above the rim, he finds a way to get the ball in the basket. Cousins could be a huge matchup in this game.
Yeah, as you mentioned, those 15 points on Monday, that was a career playoff high for the former perennial All-Star. So that would be super clutch for him to show up tonight. Monday, the Clippers were able to stave off elimination for the third time this postseason. What will determine whether they can force a Game 7?
Well, they've got to get the ball in the paint. I mean, you think about that zone of the Clippers the other day. It absolutely took DeAndre Ayton out of the game. Look, 35 points, 58 points in Game 5 the Clippers score. You know what? On the other side, quite honestly, the Suns did not get the ball into the paint. They've got to be able to guard the paint, though, the Suns. And, right here, you got to be able to attack the zone, and you can't just settle to shoot jump shots. That zone neutralized DeAndre Ayton. All those rolls to the rim and those lobs, the post-ups, you're seeing jump shot after jump shot after jump shot. You've got to establish yourself against the zone and not just settle. What do they got to do? They got to find a way to get the ball to Ayton. And then matchups will be key. I thought the Clippers did a great job of getting Booker switched on to Morris. When Booker gets switched on to Morris, the Suns have got to run a double team. Morris is big. He's too big. He's too strong. He's too physical. If they make that switch, they're going to once again attack Booker in that matchup. They're going to have to run a second defender. And finally, at the end of the game, who's going to defend Paul George? And to me, I think it's got to be Mikal Bridges, but you've got to send a second defender at times. If he gets it going, get the ball out of his hands. Don't let the other team's best player beat you, especially in those isolations. You saw Paul George playing downhill. All right, run a second defender at him, get it out of his hands, make someone else beat you. There's no Kawhi Leonard. Get the ball out of George's hands in the fourth quarter.
I like that you said that Paul George was the best player on the Clippers team. He's the first player with 40 or more points on 75% shooting, 50% from the three-pointer. So the dude's a bucket. Suns and Clippers will meet tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Thanks so much, Seth.
No doubt, Christine. That dude can play.